Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mishi, or you can call me Brianna. As you can see, we're here in the Blaire White Project, which is Blaire White's podcast channel. I've watched a couple of these, but the one that really actually caught my eye was the Dylan Mulvaney controversy. This one right here, the Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney controversy is wild. This one caught my eye because while I was watching it, let me just say, Blaire, I feel like you have a little bit of internalized transphobia that is projected outwards towards other people. Because there were a couple of things that I noticed during the podcast that kept having me turn my head like, wow, that's a really hot take. And I do want to say that I myself am transgender. I have been transgender for about 6 or 7 years myself. I have medically transitioned hormonally. I have personally transitioned out socially. Um, Even though this doesn't necessarily look like it, I have. I have a wig right here that I probably should be wearing. I have makeup, I can do my nails. I could show like literally like all these. Anyway, um, there were some hot takes that I personally got offended by. So let me just go ahead and go through the video right now and we'll just comment as we go. But Blaire, I feel like there are some things you just shouldn't be saying because you're going to hurt a lot of different trans people out here. And I know it's not necessarily it's not what you're after. You're not out here to hurt trans people. You're out here to spread awareness. You're out here to not exactly be a role model, but you kind of are. You are a role model for a lot of different trans women. Um, and I know it's not your intention to hurt people at all. So I want to go in saying that. I know that you're not doing it intentionally. Better. And this is one thing that I'm also going on about is that there are therapists out here who are actually talking about how BetterHelp itself is literally a scam. Like they don't actually offer good healthcare options, mental health care options. They don't. Hi, baby. This is my dog. I don't know if you can see her very well. This is my doggie. Hi. Her name is Lady. Hi, Lady. Hi. Yeah, it's your Coco, aren't you? Yeah. She probably has to go to the bathroom. I don't even know if she was in view or not at all. Anyway, we're going to get into this. But yeah, I've heard therapists go on and on about how BetterHelp is just a scam. And you're out here promoting them. So that's one thing that I had to go on about. I'm not here for the BetterHelp. I'm just not. All right, what is this? What little tag? Alex Jones defends Blaire White. Okay. My bad internet connection. Like what? And I'm sorry, like if my voice is like grating or annoying, I apologize. I'm not like out here to be completely passing or anything. So if that's something that's going to offend you or bother you while watching this video, I apologize, but there's the exit. I don't want to watch all of this. I wanted to get straight to the point that I wanted to talk about, which is the Dylan Mulvaney stuff right here. I'm glad you got like covered by Alex Jones. I know you get attacked a lot, So I'm not here to like attack you or anything. It's just I'm going by my personal beliefs. I'm commenting on what I see, and that's just all I have to say about it. Like, I'm just commenting on the truth and the facts of the matters that I see at hand and my moral standings.
Because I'm talking about the Mulvaney.
Not that you
Dylan
even know who I
Mulvaney
am. Like, who cares about my moral standings, right?
scandalous
But anyway.
controversy of all controversies. I have avoided talking about this because Dylan Mulvaney is, in my opinion, the worst thing to happen to the trans community, and we had a trans shooter.
Now, I don't know what information you have to say that Dylan Mulvaney is the worst thing to happen. The worst thing, Blaire? Like, after Jessica Yaniv, after what we just watched with, Tiffany, the worst thing to happen to the trans community?
Maybe that sounds extreme. I don't care. I'm gonna say it.
Plus the trans shooter. Like
And I'm
I
not
just
saying
learned
that
about
he's
that
doing this
myself. So I'm just kind of coming into all of this. I'm just
I
coming
will
into
say
it.
that Dylan Mulvaney, even though Dylan's incredibly cringe, Dylan's still trans. I genuinely believe that. When I made my first main channel video, now I actually don't think that.
This is where I start to have a problem with the video itself and your opinion of Dylan, is because let's get a little bit further into it.
I actually think Dylan's just an actor. I've seen some pretty compelling evidence of like back before
It's
Dylan
entertaining, like I get it.
TikTok and was trying every trend, every like social justice trend until trans worked, and then he ran with it. There's a lot of really
What is
specific things
that?
I don't understand, and I really don't care who says I'm being mean. This is just trans 101. Stay
Sorry,
attention to
Dylan,
information.
sorry.
This is the reality. Dylan got facial feminization surgery, which on its face you may say, oh, that means Dylan's really trans. The surgery Dylan got cost tens of thousands of dollars.
I do also want to say that I do know a bit about Dylan Mulvaney. I know where they started with the whole day one, I'm a girl thing, day two, day three, all the way up. Um, a lot of people thought it was a joke, and a lot of people thought that they weren't serious about their transition and that they were just making, laughs at the trans community. Like, oh, look at me, like day one, I'm a girl playing with little Barbie dolls. Ooh. Um, but maybe that's just their personality. They're trying, I mean, you want a social media presence. You got to do something to grab attention. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're not trans just because that they're trying to grab attention. Um, and a little further on in the video, you mentioned how you don't think they're trans just because they don't look like they're on hormones. And that I'm not okay with. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't look like I'm on hormones, and I'm not. I'm not on hormones, but I want to get back on them. The reason I'm not on them anymore is because I lost my job. I lost my job because of the accusations against me. They cost me my job. And I decided not to press charges. I decided to settle it out. I decided to leave the state where I was in and just live my life. I am now staying with my family where I really, really wish that I could get out of. Not everyone wants to live with their parents forever. Anyway, I need to get a job. I need to get back on hormones. And that is just where my level of aggravation started, because I'm like, not everyone can be on hormones, Blaire. Not everyone can afford it. We don't have the luxury of being a famous YouTuber that makes like thousands and thousands a month, or maybe even more than that. Sorry, a little bit of a rant there. It's just, it bugged me so much to hear that.
From a surgeon who's very well known in LA, actually did Caitlyn Jenner's surgery. I actually had a consultation with that surgeon at the beginning of my transition. Thank God it didn't go because he has a reputation for giving everyone the same face and aging the girls, which is why Dylan literally aged 20 years. Dylan's like 26. Dylan's 46. With that being said,
You look 30, Dylan. You look like my age. You look my age, and I hate to say that because I'm almost 30, but when I shave and I'm all baby face, I look like a teenager. You look like a teenager when you're baby face. I don't know if you had laser or not to get rid of what you had going on before, because I haven't followed you. I'm sorry, Dylan. Um, I look at you now and I'm thinking 25. I don't see the 40. Maybe I'm not looking close enough. How close do you look, Blaire? I mean, you're also wearing makeup and stuff, so who knows?
I don't understand why Dylan can get a surgery that costs tens of thousands of dollars, but Dylan can't pay a couple $100 for laser hair removal. Is it because with those slight tweaks to the forehead and the jaw,
Oh, you
which
didn't
are
get
as
laser hair
results of being
removal.
male, Dylan can still be. But if you get rid of the facial hair, that's like a telltale sign.
Okay, so I didn't even catch that the first time around. So Blaire, basically what you're saying is you think this is all a publicity stunt and you think that once the money is run out that they're just going to detransition. That's what I'm getting from you. I don't like it. And I guess I don't have to, but for the most part, it's like, Blaire, are you a little salty you didn't get the commercial? Because I've heard you go off before about different influencers getting positions on this TV show, and you're always saying, like, why them? Why them? And you do go off and say, I'm not saying I should be the one on that part, but why them? And I don't know too much about these people to say whether or not they should have that role, but I think that's kind of the point. I'm like a consumer that isn't consuming all of the media. So I just see a face. I just see a person advocating for me. That's what I see. That's what most people see.
You get a surgery that costs tens of thousands of dollars, and you would not get laser hair removal on your face that costs a couple $100. It doesn't make sense to me. It also
I think it's a pain level thing. She probably went in for a consultation and they probably did like a laser test strip or whatever, because I think some people are allergic, right? Because it is a laser and it has like, I don't know, but I think you can be allergic to it. So you have to like have a test done to make sure that you're not gonna like blow up. And maybe they couldn't handle the pain. Maybe they were allergic. Maybe they just don't want it, Blaire. I'm feeling the salt. I really am.
doesn't make sense to me that Dylan's reportedly been on hormones for a year. I don't care who wants to say Blaire's not a doctor. Dylan is so not on hormones. I know what hormones.
They affect everybody differently, Blaire. Like, I have some squish. I've been on hormones for like 6-ish years. So, like, I'm not flat, but I'm not like busty. I'm not flat, but I'm not busty.
Hormones do to the body. I know, like Dylan is just not on hormones. I'm
Like,
back
I gotta
to
show off a bit more now because I'm
consumer
feeling
representation.
self
I don't know
conscious.
how my opinion has flipped flop
You
about this.
see?
I
You
don't
probably
think
can't because I have a shitty webcam.
I will say, I think that the obsession
And then I
that
zoom
consumers
in,
have with Dylan is
and you're
very
like,
overblown and strange. If you
man,
log onto me on Twitter
you're
without
a
him,
man.
it's nothing from conservative accounts but Dylan Mulvaney. And a lot of these conservatives that claim to want him to go away and don't want him to be getting all these brand deals, right?
Her, Blaire, her.
The reason why all these brand deals, Bud Light, Nike, the blender thing, are all coming to Dylan because, wow, who would have thought that obsessively talking about every brand deal Dylan gets and making sure to repost the advertisement itself and show the products doesn't stop an influencer from getting more brand deals. Do you know how any of this works? I don't understand. I don't think it's like giving in to anything to just be like, I'm gonna ignore that. And y'all can call me a hypocrite. I'm not trying to stop Dylan from getting any bags. I'm reacting to Dylan getting these bags. I don't care. Like, if Dylan wants to get these sponsorships, every influencer gets sponsorships. I have an ad in this video, right? It's like, granted, I'm not getting Bud Light money, and it has been very entertaining for the past couple weeks. Everyone's saying it should have been me. It should have been me. I don't drink that shit. I'm not drinking Bud Light. I'm not getting that bloat. And if I wanted to taste pee, I would be more adventurous in my sex life, which I'm not.
I guarantee you've had at least one Bud Light in your life. Otherwise, how would you know you don't like it? But at the same time, okay, I just hear you going off about something that doesn't really have anything to do with you. How other people are putting you in a position where you have to speak out and tell the world that you weren't the one saying that. Why wasn't it me? It was everyone else is saying it. Everyone else is saying, why wasn't it Blaire? Blaire should have had the deal. It should have been Blaire. I don't get it. Dylan Mulvaney got it because they're out there. They're an activist. They're fighting for trans rights. I'm assuming they're conservative because they literally talked to the president of the United States, and we all know that the conservatives tend to get most of the clout within political business in general. They just do. You're also conservative. I don't know why you didn't get the part because, in all honesty, I could see you up there with like a nice star-spangled dress, just holding out the Bud Light like, hey, bitch, I'm here and I'm fabulous and glam, and you should have this beer because you can be fabulous and glam too. That's how they basically work. Um, I I can say for myself, I don't get the whole bathtub thing with the Bud Light and them splashing around being all like, oh, like I don't get it, but it's selling a product. It's saying like, yeah, this is what drinking does to you. Don't you ever just get drunk and sit and just like laugh at something you remember and you're just like all crazy about it and you're like, you know what I mean? Like you're just splashing in the bathtub all drunk and having a good fancy time with yourself. Like who doesn't do that? Even men do it, I guarantee you.
And it's not gonna happen.
Miss Thing.
It's definitely an odd choice for Dylan to
I like you, Blaire, because you're kind of just like me.
Bud Light, and they're kind of walking it back.
You don't take shit from anybody.
Saying they didn't intend for anything to be this divisive. Well, you probably shouldn't have picked someone like Dylan Mulvaney if you didn't want to be divisive, right? And I actually don't respect. I would have respect Bud Light more if Bud Light just didn't say anything and just stuck by.
This is why I'm upset. Why I don't understand, because you say something like you shouldn't have picked her because it would be divisive. Who's dividing who? Like who's being separated? I kind of understand like straight cis men may not be exactly okay with having a trans woman hawking their beer, but I mean for the most part it's just a beer. It's just a commercial. Like, what did she do to, like, make everyone so angry? I don't get it.
The influencer they chose to hire for the gig, then to like half-ass apologize for it. I'm not really here for that. I think that's pussy shit.
Okay.
Listen, there's a reason I think the corporate press has made Dylan Mulvaney the face of
Like, you don't explain what you're talking about sometimes.
trans community, in the sense that Dylan just is a lightning rod for so much hate that then spreads out to other people. So as much as Dylan wants to be on camera talking about stop trans hate, okay, then stop some of the shit you're doing because you're causing it.
I think the way that they started, they just wanted to be a content creator. They're trans and they want to be a content creator, but that doesn't mean that they're actively creating hate, and I don't think that's what you're saying. But it is the vibe that you give off. It's kind of the way that you say it that makes it seem like You're causing trans hate. Stop it. Stop what you're doing. But all they're doing and all they see and what they do is having fun. And other people are coming in and hating on her for it. It's not her fault. It's the outside that is causing the hate, Blaire. That's why I feel like you're showing some internalized projected transphobia. Is because she's just living her life and other people are shoving her down for it. And you're basically doing the same thing over a commercial, over a TikTok profile. That's what TikTok is for. It's not to be completely serious all the time. It was originally just for memes. Dylan created herself as a meme. Do I think that she's like this in real life? I don't know. I've never met her. But I guarantee you that she's probably a lot more stern because of the backlash that she's gotten. She's probably a lot more serious than anyone actually gives her credit for. She's a caricature on a screen. She's giving you face, she's giving you body, she's giving you ad.
And I don't think I'm blame the victim. A lot of Dylan's actions are incredibly insulting to women and trans people.
I don't think she understood that. A lot like me coming into the political side of being trans, you don't always understand the things that you do are harmful to other people because it's just the way that you are. And then for someone to just tell you, like, hey, you're transgender and you're finally coming into who you are, but who you are is kind of insulting to the rest of us. It's kind of like pushing someone back who just popped out of their box, who just came out of the closet. It hurts.
And makes trans people out to look like a caricature. I'm sorry, but in a world where trans people are still trying to get their footing and still trying to have the world understand us and still fighting against so many negative stereotypes and still fighting against like, oh, we got a shooter over here, we got this one here. You do have to hold yourself with some dignity, some class, and some grace. And that doesn't mean you have to be a Blaire.
I don't think you do. You don't have to hold yourself with dignity and class and grace. You don't. That's where we're at a divide there, Blaire. You see, if you want to be a caricature on a screen, be a caricature on a screen. The point where I'm at is that we are understood at this point. People know we're here at this point. It's 2023, it's almost 2024. This has been a movement for decades. And, you know, for the most part, a lot of the people who seem confused about it are either too young to even be involved in that kind of scene in the first place, or they're too old to not understand the concept of being a rationalized person, a human being with feelings and emotions. And they're just poking fun. They're making a joke out of us on purpose. There's no way in this day and age that people do not understand what being transgender means. No way. You either lived a sheltered life, you're too young to understand it and shouldn't, or you're obviously making fun of it and ignorant on purpose. I'm sorry, there's just no other way about it. There's just not.
Right. And behave the way I do or talk about the things I do. I'm sometimes a mess myself, and I'm not always perfect, but making yourself into a joke like this, especially when I don't even think that you're trans anymore, Dylan, that's a problem. The problem is you.
My opinion is the problem is outward opinions on who somebody is and how they act and saying it's not proper. You're basically doing to Dylan what everyone has done to every transgender person in the history of ever. Every gay person, every LGBT plus person in the history of ever, Blaire. You are now being the voice that is pushing down someone else's voice, someone else's person. I don't think you even realize it, but you are. And maybe it's because of the circles that you run in that these are just this is just the lingo that you're used to hearing, so that is the lingo that we speak. That was a little cringe. I don't know why I'm talking at you like I'm teaching you something. You probably understand exactly what I'm saying, but it's also your character. It is also your channel to do with what you want. I am just here to post my thoughts and opinions on what has happened and what is going on. That's all. My opinion.
So I just like I don't know what to do about the Dylan stuff other than when Dylan does things worth criticizing, criticize them. But if you're a conservative and you want Dylan Mulvaney to stop getting brand deals, maybe don't repost the ads that Dylan creates. Because there's supposedly this huge boycott that's been going on, against Bud Light, and they had like a momentary dip in sales, and now they're already back up. So it's not working. The tactic's not working. The boycott's not working. Just ignore Dylan.
That's I'm getting the opposite vibe here. I think that their dip in sales was because there was like a little boycott over the Dylan Mulvaney thing by cis people, straight cis people who are probably bigoted. And it didn't last because this is their favorite beer. Once the ads of Dylan ran out and now it's just back to regular Bud Light sponsorships, their sales are back up. But Dylan got those bags. Dylan got their money. That boycott didn't really do much of anything because if you really think about it, ads and sponsorships only run for a certain period of time in the first place. So it probably ran for the entire time the boycott was happening. And then by the time that everyone realized, I want to get my beer back on, Dylan was no longer sponsoring the beer. I may be wrong, but I think that's kind of the way that it went. Marketing is very touch and go, but if people want something, they're gonna end up getting it somehow.
And my issue with Dylan isn't even like just that Dylan is cringe and doing ads, because there's a lot of celebrities and influencers that are cringe and do sponsorships and endorsements and get all that coin. My issue has always been that Dylan advocates for children transitioning. Dylan advocates for
Okay.
children being sterilized. Something that I don't even think Dylan's willing to do to his own adult body because it doesn't even look like Dylan has hormones.
Okay. So that's where I can actually agree with you. I had no idea that that's what Dylan was advocating for as well. I don't think that children should be transitioning medically. I think socially would be acceptable enough. Um, so yeah, I've already covered that in the previous video that I went over of yours. But for the most part, I believe children should only be allowed to socially transition and not change their bodies permanently in a way that could end up damaging them potentially.
And I'm sorry, but there is, even when you transition at the age that Dylan is transitioning, there is a change that happens to the body. And you can see it not taking place.
I don't agree, Blaire. I see slender shoulders. I see a slender waist. I see small feminine hands. Although yes, FFS has taken place, I also see softening of the skin. Her skin is radiant and glowing. That may be the makeup, that may be the lighting, it may be because she's in a bath. But for the most part, she looks soft. She looks like she may have some budding going on. Like I see some curvature. I see curvature. It's not massive, but it's there.
So, I don't know what to tell you. Next.
Okay. So that's all I really wanted to cover for this video. I think the rest of this, I believe that I was in agreement with literally almost every single thing. No, this misgendering law in Canada, I also wanted to cover. There was a lot going on in this that I had a lot to say, which I can basically cover almost immediately. If you don't know what was going on, you can go and watch the full entire video. But this upset me. This upset me a lot.
New bill in Canada would prosecute anyone that misgendered, criticized, or protested against transgenderism. Anyone deemed transphobic, homophobic, or offensive would face prosecution and a $25,000 fine. Let's watch this clip. Firstly, it enables the Attorney General to create a 2S LGBTQI plus community safety zone to prohibit within 100 meters of the property any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation, threat, offensive remarks, protest, disturbance, and distribution of hate propaganda within the meaning of the criminal code. It also comes with it a penalty of $25,000 if prosecuted successfully. So, first of all, can we...
Okay, so I wanted to say that I don't think Blaire even played the entirety of the clip right there, but they covered the entirety of the bill of what it was supposed to be, I believe. You can go and check it out yourself. Ollie London TV at Ollie London TV on Twitter tweeted this. You can probably go look from End Wokeness. Protect 2S LGBTQI plus communities. I don't know what all of that exactly stands for. I'm with Blaire on that. There are just too many acronyms being added to this acronym. For it to really make sense for anybody trying to get into the communities themselves, like, what is all of this? Do I have to learn all of it? What is going on? Like, if I'm misspeaking on one community that is proper in another community, what do I do about it? Like, what's going on? How do I tell, a tranny from someone who, sorry, I'm a tranny, I can say that. How can I tell a tranny from someone who is trans mask on the, opposite scale? Like, I guess you would consider me trans mask. You would probably look at me and think, I don't know how to gender you. You look male, but you sound kind of feminine, although with a bit of a masculine edge to it. You have a beard, so I think I'm gonna call you a man. Anyway, I went off topic there a little bit, but about the bill and specifically, Blaire pauses the video and she just kind of goes off about how it doesn't make any sense. Why is this bill even being placed? It sounds improper. It sounds like it's taking away the freedom of speech in Canada. And for me, she also goes in about the people on the podium, how none of them make sense. Why are they there? If this is for transgender people, why are there drag queens there? And in my opinion, it pissed me off. Okay, because who knows if they're drag queens or not? What if they are transgender? They're just not, in traditional makeup. What if they wanted to be up on the podium like, hey, I'm here, I'm queer, just to push it in people's faces on purpose, like, hey, this is what we can look like. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're all going to look like you, Blaire. She goes in on this girl in blue, like, why is she there? She's just standing there. I don't know why you represent this podium. You have nothing to say, nothing to add. But at the same time, I don't think she played the entire clip to see if any of them had anything to say on the clip. I don't know either because I haven't watched it. But I'm just going off of her video here. I'm reacting to her video. She goes off on the people in the masks, like, why are you wearing masks? I don't know about you, but I thought the pandemic was over and the mask mandate has been lifted. And it's like, what if they were sick? What if they were sick and they didn't want to pass it on? Because it is still very contagious and it still does kill people, regardless if you're vaccinated or not. And she goes off on the bill itself, like how it seems like it's too much, how it's improper. And I'm thinking, did she even listen to what it covered and why it covered it? Because the lady who was representing this bill in and of itself, she clearly stated that this was to stop people in specific parts of town that seemed like they were heavy on crime, because they wouldn't just pass these bills in specific areas if it weren't apparent that issues were happening there. So she goes off. Let me just rewind just a little bit. And we'll listen to what she says.
Misgendered, criticized, or protested against transgenderism. Anyone deemed transphobic, homophobic, or offensive would face prosecution and a $25,000 fine. Let's watch this clip. Firstly, it enables the Attorney General to create a 2S LGBTQI plus community
That's
safety
where she
zone
stops listening.
within 100 meters of the property. Any homophobic, transphobic act of intimidation,
Any transphobic, homophobic act of intimidation, threats, offensive threats, offensive remarks, distribution of hate, and trying to stop peaceful protests in these areas. This is what this bill is stopping. It's stopping hate remarks from people who are trying to downsize the political structure of what's going on in Canada for the transgender community. It's trying to stop the threats of people trying to threaten harm on transgender people or anyone of these communities. It's threatening to stop the people who are distributing their own hate memoranda. Is that the proper word for it? I don't know. Reprimanda. Their own hate, distributing their own hate, and fining them for it. I think this is very proper, and I think this should be happening in the United States. I think the freedom of speech only goes so far as your infringement on someone else's proper living life, proper living structure of how they want to live their life. I feel like the freedom of speech stops where you start to infringe on someone else's freedoms. I feel like that's how it should be. Anyway, I think that's all I really wanted to say for this video, because she just kind of just goes on and on and on for like the next half an hour about why, not half an hour, but like 15 minutes, about why it's just a shitty bill. It's not. I think it's proper, I think it's great, and I think it should be a staple in history for transgender activists, for anybody who is in this 2S LGBTQI plus communities, any of them. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.